Hello everyone, welcome back to the Scrap and Stamp YouTube channel. It's Jess here, and today I'm excited to share a magical shimmer powder background featuring Lavinia stamps. And here's a peek at the finished product. So we're going to do a little bit of emboss resist with clear embossing, and then we're going to double it up with some black sparkle embossing powder as well. We're going to start by adding our card front to the MISTI, and we're going to stamp our main image. Before I get a little inky, I want to make sure that the embossing powder stays where I want it to stay. So I'm going to treat the card front with my anti-static powder tool. And I'm going to reach for my VersaFine Onyx Black ink. This ink is perfect for embossing because it stays wet just long enough for the embossing powder to stick. And of course, I'm going to reach for my stamp Tabulous to help give a nice crisp image. I had to go over it a couple of times. I should have honestly treated this stamp before I started this project, and then I might need to refill my ink, but we eventually got the look we're going for. With our image all set, now we're going to add our first layer of embossing powder. I'm going to reach for a piece of copy paper and then spread clear embossing powder throughout the image. Next, I'm just going to check if there's any stray embossing powder and just kind of wipe it away with a clean paintbrush. That looks pretty good to me, so now I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. There's something so satisfying with watching the embossing powder melt. With our first layer all set, we're going to add some sparkle. So I'm just going to go ahead and clean the stamp because we're going to actually use VersaMark, not VersaFine. And then I'm going to place the card front in the MISTI and then do the exact same thing. I'm going to quickly treat it with my anti-static powder tool and then ink up the image with some VersaMark. And I'm going to close the MISTI and then reach for my stamp Tabulous, and then we're good to go with our second layer. And with the help of a second piece of copy paper, I'm going to apply the black sparkle embossing powder. And again, pretending my paintbrush is almost a wand, I'm going to wipe away magically all the stray embossing powder. Love the sparkles. That looks pretty good to me, so I'm going to hit it with my heat tool. I find it's a little bit harder to tell when the sparkle embossing powder has been melted, but I just kind of give it a little bit of extra time, and then I constantly move the paper in the light so that I can see it from all angles. Now that our image is double embossed, we can have some fun with some shimmer powder. So I went ahead and I die cut a little circle in a scrap piece of paper because I wanted the powder to kind of stay concentrated in that area. I'm going to quickly reach for a container because we're going to have some mist happening, and then I'm going to place the little scrap piece of paper over the area and kind of gently tap the powder where I want it to go. I'm making sure that the colors are not exactly touching each other. I don't want to create kind of a muddy look. And then now it's time for the magic. Now that we've applied water, we can maneuver the paper and direct the color where we want it to go. And then once I kind of found the look that I'm going for, I'm going to reach for some paper towel and kind of dab away any extra water. And then to speed things along, I'm going to dry it with my heat tool. The cool thing about the shimmer powders is you can kind of keep adding layers. So I noticed there was kind of a cluster of color that I wasn't exactly happy with. So I just added some more water and then dabbed it with paper towel. And then off camera, I hit it with my heat tool once again. And now we're going to apply it to our card front. And now it's sentiment time. I reached for a pre-foiled sentiment that I created myself. So if you have foils on hand and a Mink, any sentiment you can ever imagine is within your reach. I just made sure to print on toner paper, and now it's time for some sequins. And for a little dimension, I'm going to add some 3D foam tape to the sentiment and stick it in place. And here's our card. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this video, be sure to hit the like and subscribe button. Until next time.